Good morning. Welcome to DCC Today. You have made it through another week. It is Friday. Congratulations. Hey, we're going to start off with a photo of the day that was sent in by Kurt Bidinger. And this photo is one that Kurt took of elk up in Happy Valley. And love seeing the elk around here. We are out in Robin Hill Farm still. I don't think the elk come down here, but the horses come through here for sure. Hey, some announcements for this week. Don't forget, starting on September 13th, we're going to have our first in-person church services at 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. Space is limited. There is a banner on the website right now that you can go to reserve a ticket. It is reserved seating. It is first come, first serve. But go and see if there is space still available and plan for that service, September 13th at 9 a.m. We will still be doing all of our online service just like we always do. We pre-record those. We'll have those posted by midnight on Saturday night, but there will also be a live service at 9 o'clock. It'll actually be a live message. The music will be the pre-recorded music we're using for the online service, but we're going to start there and see how this goes. So if you'd like to, I hope you'll join us on September 13th. Also, coming up on Monday, this coming Monday, it's Labor Day. And besides being Labor Day, it is actually kind of a milestone for the DCC Today program. And I will tell you more Monday about the interesting milestone that we will have passed with this program that I never thought I was going to see happen back when we started. So that's coming up on Monday, but I hope you have a great Labor Day weekend as well. How about a devotional thought for the day? This comes from Isaiah chapter 7, and I have to give you a little bit of context to this. What has happened is that Ahaz, who is the king of Judah, has just found out that two armies are uniting to come against him. And he is quite justifiably terrified. In fact, his people are terrified. In fact, it's described this way. It says that the heart of his people shook as the trees of the forest shake before the wind. And so these enemies that are coming, this pending attack, has Ahaz and his people terrified of what's about to happen. But here is the message that God gives to the prophet Isaiah to give to Ahaz. The Lord said to Isaiah, "Go out to meet Ahaz and say to him, 'Be careful, be quiet, do not fear, and do not let your heart be faint because of these two smoldering stumps.'" Interesting perspective that God gives, isn't it? For Ahaz, these kings look like powerful enemies that he couldn't defeat. And yet from God's perspective, he says, they're just smoldering stumps. In my eyes, they're already defeated. And his advice to Ahaz, be careful, be quiet, do not fear, do not let your heart be faint. We've all been going through a lot of things these last few months that feel pretty overwhelming. But I think it's a good reminder that God would say to us, be careful, be quiet, don't let your heart be faint. The thing that seems so overwhelming to you, God already knows the outcome, and you're safe in His hands. Well, we're going to go for another segment this week, being a Friday, the story of Bob Bourquin, the World War II vet who went through the experience of the battle for Wake Island and then spent the rest of the war, 4 years, as a prisoner of war in a Japanese prison camp. And we've gotten to the point now where he's been released. Last week we actually had a repeat of a segment, a little technical glitch, but we're going to pick up a new segment this week of Bob's experience after the prison camp. I hope you enjoy it.
When I got home back in 1945, Charlotte and I got married. We bought a new house, or bought our home in Seattle, and applied to go to the University of Washington under the GI Bill. But they were full and couldn't accept us. So we moved to Corvallis, Oregon, and entered Oregon State. And I would never have gone back to school if it hadn't been for Charlotte. We were at a Pike Street market one day when we were shopping, and I had a job with the Seattle Park Department. It was a job that was going nowhere. And she said, "Bob, I want you to go to college and get a profession." And I told her I was too dumb. She said, "Well, I'll go back to school with you and help you." So she went 3 years and worked at a job afterwards, quit college, and worked at a job to get me through. So I did my 4 years of college, and then I did a year of postgraduate work and got my general secondary teaching credential. I loved teaching even more than I loved being a sergeant in the Marines. The kids were great and never had problems, discipline. I just would tell them the way it was going to be, and that was it. Just a wonderful life, and 27 years, and just loved it. Looking back on my life, I feel I've been very fortunate. I'm now 91. Charlotte and I had 65 years, just lacking a couple months of life together. We had a beautiful daughter who died of cystic fibrosis when she was almost 10. Then we adopted our son, Jeffrey, which was a marvelous thing. We had such a blessing getting Jeffrey. But all in all, I would say that I've had more good in my life, my 91 years, than I've had bad. And I would like to impress on young people the idea that the freedom we have as Americans is a very precious thing. They got to be willing to stand up and fight for it. It looks like we're going through a terrible time right now. And people, I think, have to be very strong and stick to their Constitution and their idea of a fair democracy. I just pray that they'll have the courage to do this.
Well, thanks for tuning in today. I trust you have a great weekend, and we will see you online Sunday morning. Remember, Monday we'll be back here. Even though you may be having a holiday, we'll be here, and I'll tell you about the little milestone that this program is crossing as of Monday. So until then, God bless.